Hello, I'm Marilla Sargent, Vice President and Branch Manager of the Montlake Terrace office of Home Street Bank. Home Street Bank is proud to sponsor these videos, which will help the voters make an informed choice in the November elections.
Welcome to Vote 2017. I'm Teresa Whipple, and we are here today with Alvin Rutledge, who is running for Edmonds City Council Position 3. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about some different issues facing the city, but for now, I'd like you to tell me a little bit more about yourself.
I'm Alvin Rutledge, been a resident since 1986. I've been involved in a lot of activities in the community, and I was wondering why a lot of people are not running this year for the position of city council. And so I decided to put my hat in the ring again and give it another try.
Okay, and people have known you for a while as being somebody who has run for office, and you're well known in the community. Why don't you, because you've been to a lot of city council meetings and have kept a close watch on the issues, tell me what you think are the top 3 issues facing Edmonds right now.
The upcoming budget, transportation, those are the main 2 issues. You have to look at the future. The future plan, probably long-term plan, would be a bus system where you can bring people into the city and take them in and bring them out. Although that's a future plan, that's down the road, but that's in your transportation plan. That's one of the main things. And then also the emergency on the waterfront here is needed, and that will help out quite a bit of the events coming into town here.
Okay, and when you talk about the budget, you're talking about just making sure that it's financially responsible? Is that what you're concerned about related to the budget, or is there something in particular that concerns you?
Well, I'm talking about the whole budget. I mean, we usually have part-time employees who are non-union, now they're union. We're looking at your financial output with the interest rates is supposed to go back up next year. The problem we have, I've been around here several years, since '86, that your revenue keeps coming in and your expenses keep coming in. But we really have not been hit yet, really, with a $2 or $3 million decrease revenue when your budget's already set. And so you have to look at the problem we have in the foreign countries going on right now, and the money markets going on. And basically, Edmonds is financially solvent that way, but at the same time, you got to look at what's going to happen to your increase wages, union contracts, money keeps coming in. Your revenue is the main problem you have to watch. And what you have to do here is to bring in jobs that are family-paid jobs to be competitive. You have to be competitive with these other cities around you that are bringing in businesses. And so that's the main concern of your revenue, is to make sure that our businesses are competitive with everybody else. That is where your funding comes from.
Okay, let's talk about Highway 99 and the fact that there are plans now to redevelop it and make it a little bit similar to, probably a lot similar to what Shoreline has done with their part of the Highway 99 in Aurora. What do you think about what the city has been working on so far related to Highway 99, and do you have a kind of a vision for what you'd like it to look like?
Well, Highway 99, you mentioned Shoreline. This was years ago. This $30 million came out of casinos. This town does not have a casino revenue base here. It's voted down by the taxpayers. Highway 99 is a growing business on Aurora there. Denny's has an application in here to take the building down and rebuild a retail outlet there, setback off the street there, be a sidewalk setback, and by having a development that way, Honda put an application in put another small building up and add on to another building. So that is development that's going to be coming. Traffic, you're back at transportation again there. A lot of heavy traffic. So Highway 99, retail is there. We used to have, number one, it used to be auto sales, but the auto sales has moved out towards Linwood on Highway 99. So you have to look at your income base coming in again on Highway 99. Denny's going down, maybe Arby's might be going down there, and so that's a development starting there.
What about the issue of affordable housing? One of the things that people have said is with Highway 99 redevelopment, perhaps that might open up some opportunities for some housing that might be more affordable for those with lower incomes on different income levels. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a good idea? Do you have ideas for being able to help people who might not be able to afford homes these days?
Affordable housing there, that's the main reason a lot of people don't go up to Highway 99. Your commercial property is too high. You have to pay for it, affordable housing. And I'll give you another example is affordable housing is your police people in the city should work in neighborhoods and live in neighborhoods and be in communities. And you're talking about affordable housing, well, that's affordable costs for a police officer to buy a home in Edmonds to live in a community. So affordable housing is a big issue here. Where are you going to get the costs from? How are you going to figure out the percentage of people paying rent and so forth? If you follow Seattle, they have a waiting list down there, but we're in Edmonds here. There's people that need to be housed there, but at the same time, where are you going to get the money to affordable housing? That's an issue that has to be addressed. You don't want to put tents around the city on the highway streets, up and down the streets with tents. That might come here in 15, 20 years. You might see that here in town. But it's cost effective. That's the problem.
One of the things that the council has been talking about for many years is the Edmonds Marsh and the what are the appropriate setbacks and buffer widths for the marsh, especially as it relates to the Harbor Square business complex there next to it. Have you followed that issue, and do you have an opinion about kind of what they're discussing at this point and what the solutions might be to make sure the marsh is protected?
Well, I can say I've been around a number of years. It wasn't a few years ago, I believe 2013 or 2014, that the port came with a 5-story building down there, and that covers your part of the marsh and your flooding, which has been taken care of a little bit better now, and other issues in that area. But the city council members were kind of against it, and so the Port of Edmonds withdrew their application. They had an application into the city. And what you have to do is to see, my opinion is that you're in place with a private part coming in here where you have to go along with the groups to get this thing together. And so what happened was it went out, it never went together again, and nothing happened. So now this has been brought up again. What I would have to do in March is go back and recheck all those records 4 or 5 years ago and check the records what it is today and see where you're at. That's the whole problem.
Do you, speaking of the port's plan that didn't get through the council, do you think that one of the ideas is to have some mixed-use buildings there where the Harbor Square buildings are now, and actually have maybe some residential. Do you think something like that would be a good idea for that area?
Well, you have to, we have a growth management act here. The city has to have so much growth each year to meet that goal. You have to keep building to bring people into town to support the businesses. And so now you're getting back to building heights and how high you go and so forth. You're getting back to the March here on the same issue, setbacks and everything. So I've been going to those meetings years ago at the Harbor Square, but I do not believe that they're going to put residential homes in there, because they were tried that years ago. I was 60 or 65 units. That one time was a low income. That's where your low income property was going to be years ago, was that area down there. And the council voted out, and they ended up going to Mount Lake Terrace. So we did have an application in. We did public hearings years ago on low income housing down in that area. That's residential. Now, whether the Board of Edmonds is going to come back with that again, I don't know.
Let's talk about another issue that the council has spent a fair amount of time on in the last couple of years, and citizens have testified about, and that is the issue of Crumb Rubber playfields, and the fact that the school district has approved those for use in various areas of not just Edmonds but other cities. But of course the city of Edmonds has banned them temporarily until through February anyway, is when that ban is set to expire. Do you have an opinion about the Crumb Rubber playfield use and what the council should do about that?
Well, the Crumb Rubber issue is, I'm an athletic person, so you support all this, but the reason that I was a little bit against Crumb Rubber was because of the value of the property, the value of people buying new homes moving into Edmonds here. You like to keep it a nice, small town atmosphere. People come in here and they retire, they walk around, and by having a Crumb Rubber on the field, it does not match the value of a new home. That's the reason that I was questionable on Crumb Rubber. We haven't had an injury here yet, but as soon as that happens, it happens. And I'm from the old-fashioned school, you play on grass. There's a lot of the universities and sport teams, they still play grass, they don't play on rubber. And that's my answer there.
Okay. Well, we have come to the part of the program where you have an opportunity to directly address the voters and tell them why they should vote for you, and I invite you to do that right now.
Yeah, Alvin Rutledge has been a resident since 1986. Been involved in the community for several years. Been active in the membership of the community. Then also, I've been on board members of the Friends of Athletic Fields and some other issues that are related to the city. My main situation problem is running for this position was I had some citizens question the sanitary city. My opponent has introduced a resolution to the city, welcoming city of Edmonds. The problem I have with that is I believe that you should always ask your citizens in Edmonds, conversation with them, and make sure they make the right decision. So that's one of the things that citizens are concerned about, and also the city council meetings are being attended. They are not being able to participate in the council disposition. Does not call people back. Another problem that I had on this position is that my opponent, 5, 10, 15 minutes to answer a question. People are telling me yes or no. You're wasting your time. And one more time, I do believe that when the police officers move into Edmonds here, we hire more people, they should live and work in our city. And if they can't do that because of the wages they're getting paid, they should get more money to be able to do that. And that way there, we have a community-based people working in our city. So that's where I'm at there, and come on and vote this year for a change in Edmonds. Thank you.
Al Rutledge, thank you so much for coming in, and I wish you the best of luck in November.